Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to EduTap. I'm Surbhi and this is Perspective 360 Degree, where we teach you the most important current affairs topic with descriptive writing for your phase 2 examination. And not just this, we also provide you free evaluation for the answers you send us in the YouTube comment section. If my audio is clear and you can see the screen and me properly, just let me know in the chat sections. Send me a quick thumbs up, good evening, hello, whatever you feel like, and then we'll begin today's discussion. So yes, I am waiting for all of your responses. All right, hello. Immense participation I see. So yes, good evening. All right, thank you Kingshuk and Sri Bhash. So see, today is the last class of this week, not the last class of Perspective 360 Degree. It's the last class of this week for Perspective 360 Degree. Also, meanwhile, if you hear any noise, just bear with me. We are having some fun Friday activities going on in the office. See, I've seen a lot of you who have joined us in the past 1 week, and you've also gone back to the previous video, sent us your answers. So the response is immense. I really appreciate it. I hope that this initiative is making a difference to your preparation. Just one request, stay consistent. You know, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Stay consistent, follow every topic, ask doubts in the comment section, and make sure that you write answers to each and every topic that we are studying. All of you who have visited the previous 4 topics, make sure that you have a Word file or any other text document that serves as your index, because when we complete 100 or 120 topics, you will forget probably what you have already studied. So make an index and create a file or compiled file of your own, so that it benefits you. The topic for today is middle class in India. See, this topic is very much relatable. We can almost everybody relate to the middle class in India. Middle class is something that is not talked about positively. If you have been following Bollywood or daily soaps, middle class is not something that is referred to as positively. But here we have the thumbnail. If you've clicked on it, middle class, India's hero. So with this section, you will study that how middle class is important for India, how middle class is the hero of India, as has been given to us by recent data and has been proven in the other countries as well. So you will definitely take pride in what you are doing, in the process of whatever your family has been, and in the process that you are following in life as of now. So yes, few newspapers covered it. This is from July. Don't think that this is old, because for your phase 2 examination, process topics are more important than purpose topics. So process, things that have been in news for a few months, for a long time. So it says how the middle class will play the hero in India's rise as world power. And the recent one, it says India is in a sweet spot. Rising middle class will power growth over the long haul. This is a recent from the recent price ratings that we have. So first of all, let's look at the relevance of this topic for RBI Grade B. If I look at paper 1 ESI, in poverty alleviation and employment generation in India, this topic has importance. Then if you talk about social structure in India, demographic trends, these are very important. This topic becomes very important there, and always this topic has relevance in the essay part of your exam, so don't miss out on this at all. For NABARD Grade A, it has multiple importances. Again, poverty alleviation and employment generation in India. Then population trends, this is about demography, population growth and economic development. That's where you can fit this. For SEBI, for entire economics, though it is not mentioned separately, but you might see a topic related to middle class, a question related to middle class fitting anywhere in this part of the syllabus, and again in English writing skills. So I hope the purpose is clear. If you're not preparing for any of these exams, this topic is important for your general understanding and for all other exams as well. So first of all, type an expected question that you feel can be asked in the examination, that you think that can be asked in the examination. I hope with the little discussion we have done till now, it must be very clear, and by the time I'll display the question. So regarding middle class, what do you think can be the expected question? Probably their role, or what are the challenges they face. Are they the only class which faces challenges? See, first of all sections of society, all the classes, poor, middle and rich, all the classes of our society are important, but today we are focusing on the middle class. So Yes, Ashok Rathod, that's very right. Analyze the importance of middle class for India. So here we'll be talking about role or importance of middle class for India. That is your first part. What are the challenges that impede the growth and welfare of middle class? So what are the challenges faced by them? And I warn that this answer should not just have the points that we discuss here. This answer should have the points that you observe around yourself and discuss. It is a discuss question for 15 marks. That means 600 words have to be taken today. Alright, so first of all, let me share the answer blueprint which has been vouched upon by EduTap toppers. They have written their answers in the format of introduction, main body and conclusion. So we divide our answers in 3 parts. Main body can have subparts to it depending upon how many questions have been asked, how many micro questions have been asked in the question itself. So let's break it down. Let's break the question down and let's see. So if I talk about introduction and body part 1, the first part of the question, analyze the importance of middle class for India. So we always start our discussion by talking about the topic a little briefly. That forms our introduction, and we also try to give the examiner recent data, recent facts, or any case study or facts that we can add from our side. So introduction will have talking about middle class and importance of middle class. That will be taken as body part 1. So introduction in body part 1 will be middle class and its importance in India. That is your first part of the question. Body part 2 will have challenges that impede the growth and welfare of middle class, and since it's a discuss question, that means you have to describe everything on your own. We always end our answers with a conclusion or a way forward, and I've told you that in the question, if you're talking about challenges or issues at all, then definitely end your answers with a solution or way forward. So we will give solutions in our conclusion, and then we'll wind up this answer. So let's quickly move on to the first section, but before that I have this picture for you. So see, there is this disc on which some people are standing, and they're holding another disc for just one person, and there are, like, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 and 6 people. 6 people who are carrying the weight of everyone. So these are the poor people, these are the poor classes. Poor classes, or the most deprived sections of society, I would call. They carry out daily wage labor or manual labor, and then they make it sustainable or easy living for the middle class. Middle class is mostly involved into businesses, small businesses or services, and they carry out their daily activities to support this top class, which is the richest 1%. Also, let me know in the chat section if the noise around of Fun Friday activities is impacting you. If it is, then we'll do something about it. Otherwise, we'll carry on with our discussion. So yes, I think this much is clear, that these are the poor class, this is the middle class, and alright, thank you Chetak, and this is the rich class. Alright, so basically, if you have to define middle class, how will you define it? That they lie somewhere between poor sections of society and the rich ones. Alright, and they carry out their activities. Now look at this picture. I'm sure that you must have seen such a scene, or you must have been part of such a picture, standing in front of your father or guardian, or sitting somewhere here. So see, if you look at this picture, what is the purpose of this family? The purpose of this family is to provide for good education for their children, good food, good quality food for their children. Alright, for good education, they look for the best schools and most affordable schools in the town for both their children. They try to cook their food at home, try to buy the best vegetables from the market. They have a scooter which they want to, if they can increase their earning capacity, they want to buy a car for their children to, take them around, to take them safely. They also take some small trips to nearby locations whenever there is a vacation for both their children going on. So basically, education, food, tourism, and they also might be having the mobile gadgets available with them. They can afford such things, and they're also working day in and day out. They're working very hard to be able to provide a good life to their children. That's what they're doing. So this is the Indian middle class. This is the story of Indian middle class, if I talk about. And now, after these two pictures, our concept or our understanding or writing answers will become very easy. If you have some additions, let me know in the chat section. Middle class and its importance for India. We are coming to the first part. That is middle class and its importance for India. So let's write an introduction. Let's first of all specify to the examiner what is middle class and how much percentage of Indians are part of this middle class as of now. So middle class, what is it? It is not just an economic group, not just based on salaries or income they earn. It is also a social group. So what do we call it? It is a social economic group. That is, in society also they are known by this name, middle class. A socio-economic group comprising people who fall between the lower, that is poor, and upper classes in terms of income, in terms of education and occupation. Alright, so probably they're not owners of big companies or big MNCs like the rich class, and they're not carrying out daily wage labor like the poor classes, but they lie somewhere in the middle. Then it is significant socio-economic group because of sizable portion of country's population and play a crucial role in the economy. Now let's give some data with regards to how much they are. It is said that if you pick up 3 Indians, 1 out of those 3 Indians is going to be a person belonging to the middle class. The other could be poor or rich, but 1 out of every 3 Indians is middle class, and by like 2040s, 2047, this will go to 2 out of 3 people will be middle class. That means it's a good thing that poor people are coming out of poverty and they're moving to middle class. And so yes, according to a recent report which was known as, and you can quote this report directly in your answers and remember this report, please remember this, the rise of India's middle class. 1 in every 3 Indians is middle class, so this will create a catchy introduction if you write this. With income, what is the income that that a middle class has? Between 5 lakh to 30 lakh per annum. It could be exactly 30 lakh also, it could be 5 lakh also for the entire family, and this number is expected to double. That the number of middle class people falling in middle class is expected to double by 2047, which means 2 out of every 3 Indians will be in this category. So that's a very important data which is coming. Please quote this in your answers that you send to us, and also in the phase 2 examination, which we are very sure you will be taking in your next attempt. So now moving on to the let's delve deeper section. In this segment, what we do is we study the body part of the answer. We get into the details of the issue or the topic that we are discussing. Before that, let me know if you have any questions or any doubts with regards to what we are discussing. If there are no doubts, just type a no, and then we'll proceed further, that is to body part 1, and we'll discuss its importance for India. Guys, I'll come to that. Yes, prototype, that's right. Yes, they need work-life balance. Richest 1% hold 40% of wealth. Yes, Deepak, that's the Oxfam report that you're talking about. That's right. Guys, Sangma, I'll come to that. I'll come back to it. So yes, middle class and its importance for India. Now we'll be studying the body part 1. Alright, thanks Mrinal. You have a very symbolic name. One of my economy teachers, he was of the same name. He's very popular, Mrinal sir, for economy. So yes, coming to the body part 1, and we'll here discuss the importance of middle class for India. So what is the importance of middle class for India? Why is middle class important for India? Why is it known as the hero of India, that it is the rising hero of India? Why is it? So there are some factors that we have noted down. First of all, high consumption. I will come to it. Why high consumption with regards to middle class is important. As I told you, even a family of 4 members having a father, a mother, having 2 children, they have high consumption patterns, whether it comes to their education, healthcare, food, the consumer durables they buy, for example automobiles, mobile phones. They have a lot of small savings, and then they want to develop more and more. They want to buy a small house of their own, they want to own a house. So high consumption is there, and consumption drives your economy. If consumption is not there in the economy, then the country cannot develop. So high consumption, it has been said that 70% of country's spending on consumer durables, housing, shopping malls, it comes from the middle class. For example, if a movie is released, you see recently this movie Jawan was released, and it is closing down to 1000 crore rupees. So where is all this collection coming from? Rich people are very few in number. Poor people, obviously they cannot afford to pay for high cost tickets. It is the middle class which is driving the economy. It is the middle class and their consumption habits that is bringing all the MNCs to India. All brands want to come to India. They want to have their showrooms here, because of 70% of the consumption is coming from middle class. Secondly, tax contribution. Where does the tax go? It helps the government support social development. It provides health and education benefits to poorer sections of society. It helps the government to carry out development in the country. And look at this, 79% of taxpayers in your country, they come from middle class. So that is a very important data coming here. So 79% of taxpayers base is formed by the middle class. Then savings and human capital. If you know, our mothers, they're always in a habit of having small savings, hiding cash somewhere, probably in the kitchen or under the bed cover, or having savings in their bank accounts, even small savings. And these household savings, they form the greatest component of banks being able to give loans. These form the greatest component of money that is available with the banks and with the government in the form of PF. So savings and human capital, because there are a lot in numbers, so there are more and more people who are working in the economy and they have a lot of savings. So 1/4 of the country's wealth, it is coming from middle class, and they have the highest saving rate in the country. Then the fourth one is social importance. Why they are socially important? Let's say we dealt with the problem of women education. Let's pick up one problem of women education. Let's say there are two houses who are nearby. One house has both these houses have one daughter each, and rest are sons. One of the houses, both of them belong to middle class. One of these houses sends their daughter to college or to study abroad. The other house also gets motivated to have their daughter studying for a long period of time, to send her to a good college or abroad or a good university, or help her prepare for the government job, because somebody in the neighborhood, their daughter, they could crack an examination like UPSC or RBI Grade B. So this is where the social importance of middle class lies. You can deal with issues based on caste, issues based on gender discrimination, and so many other problems with the help of the growth and development that is being carried out being middle class by the social change that they bring in. So it shapes societal values, norms, and it also adopts technology at a very fast pace. It's not the poor people who had mobile phones in their hand first. It was the children of middle class who were probably fighting with their not fighting, but who were actually having this thing that we want mobile phone at home, or we want two mobile phones at home. So technology adoption is very much high in middle class, and that's why digitization could be adopted. We are in the times of digital rupee because of the contribution of middle class that has come to digitization. Then they have a political importance. What is the political importance? First thing is the vote bank. Since they have a very huge number, 1 out of every 3 Indians is middle class, they will increase with time. They have highest increasing rate. So because they have small families and they are multiplying, so they constitute a very big vote bank. So how they are treated, how they think, how they matter for the politics of the country. Here I have that they are the fastest growing major segment of the country. 31% of population as of now belongs to middle class, and this will become 38% by 2031. And note this last digit, 60% of your population by 2047 will be middle class. So this is very important. It is a great vote bank for political parties. And finally, sixth one, catalyst for change. What kind of change are we talking about? When such a segment of society, it has such a great vote bank, it has such a great political importance, then whatever they think, whatever they say, whatever they do, that becomes very important. So they will shape public discourse. If the middle class of the country thinks that we want more secularism, we want more gender equality, we want more public spaces, then the politicians will be actually motivated to provide for them. So middle class is actually driving the country in the direction of development. It shapes public discourse and societal change. They want good governance, they want jobs for their children, they want affordable health and education. And after this, what happens? The most important thing is, after a certain period of time, if a middle class family is happy in their household, if the kids are happy, they are doing good, the parents are happy, everybody is healthy, they don't care about caste divide and religious divide after a certain point of time, which is very much seen in poor classes or in underdeveloped sections of society. So over a time, when this middle class multiplies and they develop and they become happier, they will be the catalyst for change, and the issues which are dividing India, they will become less important with time. Now the second part is challenges for middle class. That will be our body part 2. Before moving on to that, let me know in the chat section if you have any discussion to make or any additions to make. Any doubts are also welcome. Yes, Nikesh, we have upper middle class and lower middle class. In middle class also, for example, I talked to you about poor class and then middle class and then you have the rich class. So in middle class also there are divisions. There are lower middle class, there is middle class and there is upper middle class. Upper middle class is somewhere which is very much close to becoming a rich class. So but for this question's perspective that you don't have to specify it. Nikesh, I think by this definition, this is very clear. So yes, from 5 lakh to 30 lakh per annum income, it can vary between lower middle class and upper middle class. Social importance point is not clear. Social importance means they bring a societal change, more gender equality, more education for children, more development. They have values of hard work and more ethical. Alright, so all that societal change, gender equality on top, that is coming from the middle class. Now moving on to the body part 2, that is challenges for middle class in India. So what do you think are the challenges for middle class in India? First of all, they depend on a monthly income mostly. They depend on a monthly income, and if that sees a change, then there is a lot of stress in the family. Obviously, they have a lot of short debts. Let's look at this picture here. So monthly expenses, school fees, short-term debt, no money for emergencies, home loans. So basically the pressure on Indian middle class is a lot because government does not provide them with free houses as it does in the case of poor people. And rich people, they can afford multiple houses. And if anything goes wrong in the family, let's say there is a health emergency, so the entire savings of the middle class, they get exhausted because they don't get free food or free healthcare facilities are not there for them, or they cannot go to such facilities. All right, this is a snapshot. On the left side you have a snapshot of Indian middle class. Look at them, like multiple children are there and they're sitting on the floor having their food. On the right hand side you have a middle class of United States of America, which have their own probably vanity van and they have a house with a lawn available. So basically the definition of middle class in Indian and Western countries is very different. Middle class in Western countries, it was a very rich class, a very driven class, but in India it is a class which has a lot of stress and a lot of financial burden. So what are the challenges? If I have to talk about 4 or 5 challenges which are associated with middle class in India. Unemployment and informal jobs. Why unemployment and informal jobs? In the previous lecture regarding gig economy, I told you almost 85% to 90% jobs in our country are in the informal sector. So here you can talk about that 85 to 90% of the jobs in the country are in informal sector, and these impact the middle class a lot because these jobs have low productivity, no upskilling happens, and adaptation to latest technologies is very less. So whenever a latest technology like for example ChatGPT comes in, these are the people who lose jobs, and these jobs, they provide very less salaries, so less that they have to be on month to month basis. Then you have inflation, food and fuel, and high living cost, debt burden. After the COVID-19 pandemic, the prices of fuel have gone up. As a result, prices of all the commodities, especially food prices, they have almost doubled. So who is being impacted? The poor, they get free ration from PDS shops. Obviously there are different issues which are associated with the poor. We'll take them in a separate lecture, but talking about middle class, they are having similar level of income or similar level of salaries, but also the same responsibilities with an added burden of inflation. The living costs are very high, especially when you move to bigger cities, and middle class, they are the foremost who are the migrants to bigger cities in search of better job opportunities, and there is high debt burden. Middle class families, they always want to own a home. That is the dream of any middle class families, to have a house of their own, to have a space of their own. And what happens is there comes a lot of debt burden with it, because most of these loans, they are based on most of these houses, they are bought by home loans. So India's middle class hit by rising cost of living. This is a coverage by BBC that has been provided recently, and they also say that why people making 6 figures are living paycheck to paycheck. Why is this happening, that Indian middle class, though it is earning 6 figures, that is in lakhs per annum, but why is it living paycheck to paycheck? That is because of high cost of living and your inflation. Then we have this limited access to quality education and healthcare. Why am I saying this? Limited access to quality education and healthcare, because of the social divide. You cannot just go to any hospital or any dispensary if you come from middle class families. You have to live in a society, and you need to send your children to a certain good quality school, because somewhere or the other they are competing with their relatives. They want that we should maintain that status. Lack of access to quality education. Free schools are out of bounds for middle class. They do not prefer to send their children to free schools. What they prefer is sending their children to good private schools, and these are very expensive. And limited access to healthcare, as well as there are very less government schemes which are running to benefit the middle class, middle income groups. Then fourth one, if I talk about, there is the contribution benefit gap. What do I mean when I say contribution benefit gap? What is the contribution that middle class is making? We told that 79% of the taxpayers base in your country is coming from middle class. So they are paying a lot of taxes. The moment your income crosses, around 6 lakhs or 7 lakhs according to the recent budget. So the moment it crosses a certain threshold, there is a heavy tax that is imposed on the middle class, but they are not the beneficiaries of it. As I told you, they do not get free food. They do not get free healthcare. They do not get free medicines like the poor people. Alright. And the infrastructure also, they are the ones who suffer because of traffic jams and lack of public infrastructure. So there is a lack of contribution benefit gap, means the amount of taxes they are paying is not equal to the amount of benefit that they are getting in return. That's why you have a lot of, people are trying to save taxes, because people from middle class, they do not see a lot of benefits being seen. So contribution benefit gap is there. People complain that we pay taxes every year, but the roads are not proper. Then there is limited socio-economic mobility. And when I talk about socio-economic mobility, these are two words: social mobility and economic mobility. Economic mobility means financial mobility. Salaries are low, informal work is there, job security is not there, and social mobility is not possible in our country because we have barriers like caste based discrimination, gender based discrimination. We see people from very good families who do not want to educate their girls beyond the age of, let's say, 20, 21, even if they can very well afford, or they don't want their daughters to work and be financially independent, because there is gender based discrimination. And there are barriers like caste based discriminations that is very prevalent in our country. So limited socio-economic mobility is there, and this impacts middle class at the highest level. It impacts middle class the most. Now before getting to the conclusion, if you have any discussion to carry out here, just let me know in the chat section. Difference in quality of life. Yes, Deepak. Alphabet. Then even SBI chairman is middle class. He was famous for his salary comparison with HDFC. See, Alphabet, I'll not be making any comments about any person here, but according to the recent ratings that we have got from price, the recent data, the price data that has come up, anyone earning between 5 to 30 lakhs is middle class. Alright, so Preet, I hope that your point was clear. Coming to the conclusion, what will you write in the conclusion? The first thing that you have to see here is you have to give solutions, and you also have to end it on a positive note, that how is middle class going to be India's hero, and how is middle class going to bring a virtuous cycle. So what can be the conclusions, what can be the way forward? Unemployment and informal jobs, the government needs to work here. Social security benefits need to be there in case of education and healthcare, because as I told you, one healthcare emergency in the family, a small accident in the family should not exhaust the entire savings of the family, because it impacts how their wealth functions or how they function. Then inflation, it has to be controlled by the government, by MPC. That has to be taken very much seriously, because inflation is very, very high right now. Then the contribution benefit gap, the tax, obviously recently we have seen in this budget that tax bar, it has been for higher income, the income has been increased for tax paying categories. Also this can be dealt with. There can be different methods which can be taxed, not just the income, but the contribution can be kept in mind. Then for socio-economic mobility, we'll see the solution. So the first thing is enhance education and skill development, so that they can get into formal sector jobs, they can get into higher paying jobs. And enhancing education, the private schools which are actually providing good education, similar education should be available, and model schools should be developed in like government schools. So addressing informal employment, how can you address this? promote entrepreneurship and small businesses, and you can talk about policies of government, for example the Startup India campaign, Stand Up India campaign. Then third one, strengthening social safety nets, and if I talk about social safety, health coverage is foremost here, life insurance is foremost here, and it has to come from the government side. Then addressing informal employment, I think that is a repetition, so we'll ignore this. I apologize for that. Fifth one is financial literacy. In India, our expenditure, it goes towards gold, it goes towards marriages and things which can be avoided. So that burden, it has to be taken off the middle class. And financial literacy, for example, where should they invest? What is the right time to buy a house? For example, if inflation is high, a financially literate person might not buy a house at that time if real estate prices are high. Alright, so that financial literacy is also missing in the middle class, and this has to come from the government's end. Probably it has to be, taught in schools, or it has to be, a nationwide campaign has to be launched. Because yes, whenever money comes, we tend to spend it at wrong places. So the budget 2023, one relief came that for no income tax till rupees 7 lakh. That was the update of budget 2023. And for the concluding line, you can talk about a virtual cycle that middle class brings, and you can say, or you can conclude that yes, India's middle class is going to be the hero of India's development. So once the size of middle class passes a threshold size, that means if middle class expands in number, a virtuous cycle is initiated. Virtuous cycle is that gives you positive benefits. A bigger middle class spends more, leading to higher business profits, savings and investment, higher growth, and even larger middle class. So that's how you can conclude this topic. Now if you have any doubts or any discussions to make, please let me know in the chat section. My name is Surbhi. If you have any feedback for for Perspective 360 degree, let me know in the comment section, or you can send your feedback to us at hello@edutap.co.in. Subscribe to this channel if this video is and the series is benefiting you in your preparation, and watch out for other initiatives as well. You can contact us at 8146-207-241 for any of the courses you want to buy with us, and please send your answers to us by Sunday 5 p.m. Previous week we took it by Monday 5 p.m. and we evaluated them, but this is the second week, so you'll have 48 hours to send your answers to this question. Please type your answers in the YouTube comment section. Do not copy it from Word, copy it from Notepad. Have adequate spaces in between, and we will provide you free evaluation services as soon as possible before the next video comes in, that is before Monday 5 p.m. Answers will be taken till Sunday 5 p.m. now. I'll see you with another discussion very soon, and I'm going back to the chat section now. Yes, Nikesh, when we talk about financial literacy, going back here, financial literacy, middle class should also learn about investing rather than spending. Yes, King Shok, we can mention that. But Ayushman Bharat scheme, it does not particularly benefit the middle class. It benefits the below poverty line. Yes, changes in tax practices, that can be a way forward. Nikesh, Ashok, that is something that we have taken. Yes, I think this point which actually got added by mistake here was tax reforms. This was the point here, so please add point 4 as tax reforms instead of informal employment. This has been addressed upwards. Thank you, Ashok. RBI recent initiative for CRR. Vandita, I'll see if that makes a question for descriptive. I'll definitely take it. Informal employment, Indrajit, we'll have a separate session on informal employment. Informal employment is a type of employment which is not registered. The salary is not paid regularly, or it is paid in the form of cash, and it's not registered with the government. Yes, it is most important. If you go to the, obviously you'll be getting the PDFs for this entire discussion in the Telegram channel. If you go to the body part 1 section, the source of data has been provided. Alright, So I will see you with another discussion on Monday at 5 p.m. live. Please try to join me live because only this is the thing that will keep you consistent. Recorded sessions, I hope you stay consistent with them if you're watching them. If you cannot watch me live, send your answers to us in the next 48 hours, get them evaluated, and thank you for the amazing response. EduTap team is motivated to help you in this journey of yours to take your name to the final list and to make your dream come true. So I'll see you soon. And take care till then. Enjoy your weekend. Send your answers to us as soon as possible so that you have good weekend and you don't have the stress of writing the answer. Monday 5 p.m. it is.